Well, guys, got out here yesterday, and all I wanted to do is take this water pump off and take this front plate off to access my fuel pump. So I want to change out the fuel pump. There's the gear for the fuel pump. Unfortunately, I had to take off the crossover because of this little nipple right here. It wouldn't come out. This thing here wouldn't come out, and then my boat, one of my boat was hitting it. Well, when I took the crossover off, I ended up breaking both flanges on it because the bolts were galded. I went ahead and I had to take my intake off anyway. I was going to take it off anyway. So, got all that off. We'll have to redo some fuel lines in here. Got all my fuel lines off, and they're on the other fuel pump I bought. This is the old pump here. This is the one I bought to replace it. Now this pump has got something right here. I think it's a throttle position sensor on it that I don't need, because this one don't have it. It went on that right there. This one don't have it, but I don't know if I need it or don't need it. It was working fine without it, so I'm assuming I don't really need it. So I got all my fuel lines hooked up to this one, and it's ready to go on. All I gotta do is sit it on there and get the gear back on it, and show you how that goes. Well, I started to stick that fuel pump back on here, and then I figured, well, while I got it off, it'd be a good time to paint these valve covers. I'm not going to worry about getting them perfect. Just throw some paint on them, and I got to get this bracket off here because I got to replace this. I think I got to replace this bracket. I got to look at my other brackets and see what kind of I got. I may go ahead and shoot this block a little bit. And I've got to replace this motor mount before I put everything back on, so it'll be a good time to do that before I set this power steering pump back on. So I'm gonna spend a little time and clean that up as good as I can and shoot a little paint on it, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I got my valve covers painted. They ain't great looking, but look a lot better than they did. I've got my fuel pump set in. Got this nut here on, and this one on. Got one more down here to get, but I got a little bracket that goes on that one. Always change out your gasket right there. The intake gasket comes with that gasket. So now we're ready to time it. If you look at your timing gear, you see that little dot down at the bottom. That corresponds with that dot right there. The slot right here is where this peg goes. So it's just a matter of getting it lined up. I'm going to have to have both hands, so I'll show you what it looks like when we get done. Okay, so I've slid it in. I hadn't bolted it up yet. Until this is right even with that dot there. This peg's in place, and I just got to put the bolts in it. Should be timed and ready to go. Then put the cover back on with the water pump, and that'll be closed up. Okay, I've got this bolted up, and I've torqued it to 20 foot-pounds. I've got to go home and find my factory manual, because this Haynes manual doesn't have diesel engines in it, and I don't have the torque specs. So I figured that's about the same as a cam torque specs 20. So I'm gonna double check, but I'm not gonna put the cover back on today because I'm gonna go ahead and change out this water pump. Debated on it. The water pump seems to be good, but you can tell it's old and it's a pain in the butt to change out. So, like $65. Go ahead and throw another one a new one on there. Maybe won't have to worry about it. I want to find me a shorter bolt for this right here. That's the bolt that was hitting on that crossover pipe, and I think the threads are kind of whooped up in there, so I'm gonna probably have to put a heater coil in there anyway. I don't know if you can tell, the sun's so bright. I replaced this bracket. You can see the old one was cracked, and they had doodled a bunch of weld on there. Looked like shit. And I've got the brackets for the AC, but if anybody out there knows how they go on, I know this one's already on here, this little short one, but there's 2 or 3 more that go on here, and I don't know exactly how they bolt on. So if anybody knows, if they can send me some pictures or try to explain to me how the other 2 brackets bolt on, if they bolt on up here on the head or whatever, I would appreciate it. I've been looking on YouTube to see if I could see one with air, and I caught a glimpse of one, but I don't know if I got the same brackets. I don't know if my brackets are for the long compressor or for the short compressor. Either way, I got to get a new compressor. So yeah, if anybody knows, I sure would appreciate it. If you can get me some pictures, that'd be excellent. So I think I've gone about as far as I can go on this today. I've got my injector lines hand tightened. I got to replace the fuel line right there. Got to put this bracket back on here that goes right there, and then tighten up this other bolt down there. And then I think I'm gonna back it back under here and try to get this motor mount changed out. So I think I'm gonna wait until I get me I got to get the crossover. It should be in by the end of the week. I found one on eBay. I would have went down here at the local junkyard, but they're a bunch of assholes. I don't like dealing with them. So I found one on eBay. So it goes from here to here. And that's all I like. Putting the crossover on, putting the intake back on, fuel lines. I want to replace all these return hoses and fuel pump. And then of course the alternator and power steering pump. Stay tuned. I'll get a video putting all this back together. I don't know when I'll get all my parts in, but I'll try to have videos of doing some more of this stuff.